Om Namah children, welcome back to our second session. In this session, we are going to learn the story The Farmer and His Daughters. Farmer means a person who owns or manages a farm. Daughter, what is meant by daughter? Yes, daughter means a female child called daughter. Here the story is based on the farmer and his daughters. Students, I read the first paragraph of the story. Please listen to me carefully. In the village of Manipuram, there lived a wealthy farmer. He had 3 daughters. All his daughters were married and living their life happily. The farmer was getting old. He wanted to distribute his wealth to his daughters, but he wanted to know what responsibility he could give to each of his daughters. He called all his daughters and gave each of them a bag of millet. He asked them to use grains in the best way possible and then come back to him after 1 year. Here the village name is Manipuram. There lived a wealthy farmer. The village name is Manipuram. Rich farmer was lived in that Manipuram village. He had 3 daughters. The farmer had 3 girl children. All his daughters were married and living their life happily. The farmer children were married and his daughters happily lived their life. The farmer was getting old. Later he was moved on to the older stage. He wanted to distribute his wealth to his daughters. So he was planning to distribute his money and prosperity to his 3 daughters. But he wanted to know what responsibility he could give to each of his daughters. But he was thinking that to know what responsibility, what is meant by responsibility? Responsibility means a role or opportunity that he could give to each of his daughters. The farmer was thinking that to know what responsibility that he could give to each of his daughters. He called all his daughters and gave each of them a bag of millet. Then he called all his 3 daughters and he gave a bag of millet. What is meant by millet? Millet is our food. Okay. He asked them to use grains in the best way possible and then come back to him after 1 year. He asked them to use this bag of millet in the good way and after 1 year come back to me. After 1 year, the daughters come back to the farmer's house. The farmer welcomed all of them. After 1 year, the daughter come back to their father's house. After 1 year, the farmer daughters come back to her village Manipuram and went to their father's house. The farmer welcomed all of them. He welcomed his 3 daughters. First, he called the elder daughter and asked about what she had done with the grains given to her. She replied, "Father, I fed those grains to flocks of birds that I saw on my way back to home." First, he called the elder daughter. Elder means people who are older than one. That is called elder. And he asked about, "What did you do by using the millets?" She replied, "Father, I fed those grains to flocks of birds that I saw on my way back to home." She replied, "Father, I fed." Fed means the past form of feed. "Father, I give food to a group of birds." Flocks of birds means a group of birds. And then I saw on my way back to home. and she returned to home. She simply finished her answer. Okay children, next class we will see the other two daughters, what they had done with the grains. Thank you. Om Namah Shivaya.